Okay. The SCP Australia National Executive Committee also includes professionals with extensive industry experience, such as Dr. Bruce Kelley. Bruce has 32 years' experience in the mining industry with CRA Limited and Rio Tinto Limited, primarily in technology and environmental roles, including site remediation, global environment standards assurance, and strategic environmental planning. So I'd like to welcome Bruce to say a few words from an industry perspective. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Paul, and good afternoon all, and thanks for participating in this and equally for providing me with the opportunity to give a very brief perspective from industry as to the SCPA scheme. I really want to touch very briefly on three areas, I guess. Firstly, the quality of the work, and I guess the word that repeatedly comes to the surface here is one around confidence. Secondly, around selecting and awarding contracts. And thirdly, around company assurance programs. Firstly, with respect to increased confidence in the quality of work. History, from our viewpoint, really does dictate that the quality of work can vary. And of course, poor work can lead to increased costs, rework, and in some cases could lead to more extensive contamination as well. So anything that provides for increasing standards and having the certification of best practice is clearly going to give increased confidence to the client, but also to the regulators. Other points that I think we feel will be very important are things around just having that larger base of certified auditors and professionals for contaminated site remediation, servicing across Australia, all states and territories. I think there'll be some other benefits in terms of keeping the market competitive. This may in actual fact be to the advantage of some of the smaller consulting companies. Large companies do tend to rely on some of the larger consulting companies where the assumption is that the capabilities may be higher. But this could be good for some of the smaller companies once we have accreditation in place and certification in place. I think equally a local access to qualified practitioners will be very important in providing a more rapid response capability. But what I'd like to do is just spend a couple of minutes talking about some of the other aspects and really understanding the client's point of view. I think that's pretty important. Certainly the industry I come from, the mining industry, if you look at the people who tend to award the contracts, it's often the environmental manager. It's not necessarily, and certainly not specifically, a contaminated site expert. So the first question is, does the client have the right skills and experience to manage the work? And anything that can increase the confidence around that selection process is important. And to face facts, the selection of consultants often is based on things like word of mouth, personal relationships, or previous experience. They can become very important aspects from that point of view. Industry people are extremely busy, so the time taken to scope and assess a proposal is highly variable from that point of view, and I think this is exacerbated by things like downturns in the business cycle, which of course put pressures on in-house environmental resources. With respect to smaller companies, that's exacerbated even further when you can find, for example, severe resource constraints. Sometimes just one person will manage health, safety, environment, and community aspects or disciplines within the company. And at the same time, that person's awarding contracts. And of course, high staff over in our industry is very important. So all of these put pressure on that process of selection and awarding of contracts. And so a certification scheme clearly will provide greater confidence in that selection process. Another area that I think is important is in terms of company assurance processes. Large companies do tend to have in-house assurance processes. These can be national, they can be global. And basically, companies set global or national standards. They have an in-house process to look at conformance against those, but they're working across a range of jurisdictions. And so this can bring about a pressure between the type of services provided in support of the conformance against those standards. And that sort of tension can lead to variability from an assurance process in-house. Once again, this is exacerbated by the fact these assurance processes are often conducted in a very short time frame. There's a lot of material to cover. And so anything that once again can increase the assurance and the confidence of the internal auditor, I think is a good thing, and certification is certainly going to assist in that process, I think. What are the concerns? Just a couple that I've put on this slide here for you to consider. The obvious point from a client point of view is what's it going to cost? Will it decrease the pool? And will this have an impact, a flow-on effect on supply and demand with respect to increasing price as well? How are we going to monitor the effectiveness of the process and maintain that and ensure that the performance is maintained at the appropriate standard over time? How does it link to existing state schemes, as Michael's already alluded to, and how to keep this as a valued process over time? And I guess one of the points is, there's enough bureaucracy out there at the moment, so let's make sure we don't increase that even further. So I guess in summary, I don't represent business as a whole, but I've certainly canvassed my colleagues quite widely from this point of view, and I think it's fair to summarise as follows. I think industry certainly welcomes any move that's going to bring greater consistency and increase the standard in this very important area. Clearly, we also welcome any initiative which makes people's jobs easier. As I said, people are busy, they're time poor, so this must help, and anything that does that and at the same time maintains or increases the quality of the service and the work done can only be a good thing. I think a key point is, for us, increased confidence is absolutely key, because this is an area, when you think about it, that really impacts company liabilities, and we're talking large dollars. So confidence around those liabilities and our ability to deal with those liabilities is an essential component. So in summary, we broadly welcome the formation of SCP Australia, and we look forward to the opportunity to engage and contribute to its success.